Login is a subsidiary of Proton. And you can, when you sign up with them, if you have Proton, you can log a simple login with a Proton email account. Otherwise, you have to set up an email account. And they, for a free product, paid product, and the encryption is a part of the paid product. And it costs right now $36 and to do all of the alias, all the stuff that's so basically to encrypt your inbox costs you $36 a year. And you can do it, Android, iPhone, Windows, Mac, Linux, doesn't matter. And what's nice about Simple Login is they also provide, when I get handouts, this is the Simple Login website. It's simplelogin.io. It's not a com. If you want to go there now, simplelogin.io. And if I go on this now, I go to that website, and what it lets you do a lot other than just encrypt is with email aliases, you can be anonymous online and protect your email from spam and phishing. So, for example, I have a Home Depot account and I have a Lowe's account, a Macy's account. They all have their email alias. And if any one of them gets infected, I can turn it off. So anyway, is the I'm not log in from here. I'm going to log in through. Oh, let me finish my presentation. I'm sorry. Windows browsers should use an encryption extension called FlowCrypt. And we covered this in the last Encrypt meeting that I did. If you have Gmail, you should use the FlowCrypt plugin. It's designed specifically to work with an encryption on Gmail. If you're not on Gmail, the browser extension you need is called Mailvelope, and that's available on Firefox and Chrome. And it's what will hold your public and private key and enable you to encrypted mail if you should want to. But in this particular case, talking about being able to read the mail comes in. So what you're going to do is create your own PGP key, secret key in public. And I do that with an app called Cleopatra. And I'm going to see and bring it up. For a smart card in the certificate manager. Let me Cleopatra configure about board smart card. Let's shut it down and start over. This always happens when I'm doing presentations to you guys. Something doesn't work right. There we go. This is a program that's available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And its only job is to create and manage your PGPs. And in order to encrypt your mail, you're going to need to create key for whatever mail you use. So have King65 that's free at Gmail, Gas, and I have King Drew. And my consulting email that I use is forwarded to these mailboxes. And this is where I have my key. And so what I do is create one key for whatever email provider you use. And then you can right click and export, and you'll be able to export your public key file. And that's what gives to Simple Login to allow them to encrypt your mail. And then if you go into File and export, no, it's not export. I didn't select the mail. If I select one of these and then I say File, I can say Backup Secret Key, and it will allow me to back up my secret key to a file. If you use Mozilla Thunderbird, it supports PGP, and it has the ability that it can create keys too. I just choose to use this because it's just more universal and does more things than Thunderbird. It's not, you're not locking yourself into the Thunderbird app. So anyway, that's how you create your keys. You'll basically say that you want to create a new open PGP pair, and you'll put in your name, your email address. It'll protect it with a paraphrase, and all of this information you need to keep really, really safe. And if you don't use a password manager, use a password manager, because all of your encrypted mail can only be read with that key. And if you lose that key, you lose your whole inbox. So it's important to keep it. On mobile device, you should load, if you're on Gmail, the FlowCrypt app, either the Apple or the Android store. And Windows users should load GPG for Win, which is what installs Cleopatra. And that comes from this website right here, the gpg4win.org. Linux users should go to a flathub.org, and you can get Cleopatra there. You load PGP from your whatever Linux distro usage manager you have, and then you go to FlatHub and Cleopatra. And that's the end of my slide. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go into my Simple Login account, which is here and here, and we'll maximize it. And this is my Simple page, and I will. Can everybody see this, or should I make her? I can make it. I can go like this, and you can really see it. If you have problems, so after you log in to your Simple Login account, you'll have in a bunch of these tabs across the top. And the first one is called aliases. And you'll create a new alias. And I have all of these aliases in here. And if I go into here and I type in Drew, it'll get rid of all the other ones. And for example, use the email Drew as my personal email. I still do dking65 at King Consulting for mail that goes to friends and family. Now I'm converting everybody over to Drew at doodle.simplelogin.com, because in order for you to have your email encrypted, it has to be processed by Simple Login. So the whole process, aside from costing $36, cost you your email address. You have to get a new one and hand it out to everybody. That's one of the catches. And Another thing that it lets you do, as from encryption, is you create contacts. And what it does is it allows you to send email to anybody uh, that will look as though it came from drew@doodles.sim, not Gmail. Okay, I have a Gmail. I don't want to give somebody my Gmail address. So I give them drew@doodles.login. And you create a new reverse alias and for whatever email address you need. And then when you send an email, I were to send you an email, it wouldn't come from Drew King Consulting or Gmail. It would come from Drew@Doodles. Uh, and if you replied back to me, it would go back to my Gmail account. So it's neat. This whole process is really um, in the domains category. I suggest creating a subdomain, and you can name it whatever you want that no one else has already taken. So I created doodles.simplelogin, and I created roosters.simplelogin, different purpose. And for a different purpose, I created three. And I use one of these email addresses. So I'm either Drew@Doodles or Drew@Roosters or Developer3. I can be anything at any of these. You can even create them online. So if you're signing up for a new account on AI somewhere, you can pick a new email address, Jim, and type it in. You don't have to log in here and create it. It'll just create it for you. In the mailbox tab, this is where you tell it to deliver the mail. So I can have mail delivered to DKing65, or I can have it delivered to King Drew. This is my default mailbox. When a random alias is created, it belongs to this default mailbox. So if Steve were to send an email to elephants can fly at doodles.login.com, it'll land in my King Drew King Consulting mailbox on Gmail, and it will be encrypted. The person sending you mail doesn't know anything about or care about you. They're sending you a clear text email, and it will be clear until it gets to simple login, and then they'll encrypt and deliver it to whoever you tell it to. So the point of encryption is your mailbox. So if it's Gmail or Comcast or Yahoo, they can't read your mail, essentially. If I go into King Drew and I edit it, I have to put in my password. So you're not gonna see my password manager. And simple login, and it is by title. There we go. And copy, paste into this window. And this allows me to change where I want mailbox to go, and also where my PGP is stored. So it's by default. You have to turn on, and then you have to paste your public key that you created here. And this is what Simple Login uses to encrypt your mail. I'm going to go see if I can cancel it. Let's go back here. So those mailboxes. For domains, I don't do anything. I think that what this does, you can uh, by adding your domain, you can create aliases like "hi, my domain," and you can also enable catch-alls. So I think this is if you have a personal domain. I'm pretty sure, but it had a use button here. And directories, I've never touched. I don't know what it does, and it doesn't matter. And then in settings, um, you basically have some things that I have never touched. So you can play with them, but I don't use them. And that's all there is to setting up simple login. When it comes to reading your mail and decrypting it, you're going to, I'm going to show you the two ways to do it, or three ways. If I go into Thunderbird, which is right here, oops, no, it is here. Come on. Here we go. This is where I have that export tools. If I go to my inbox, and I click on King Drew, I can right click, import, export, and I can export messages in this folder to an EML message format. And if I wanted, I can messages in folder or all folders. And then you can import EML files into any. So that's what that is. But when you go into accounts, each account that you have in here, and I'll just use King. There is an end encryption tab, and it says OTGP and King Drew at King Consulting, and it has my key. And if I say add key, you can see that you can import an existing key, like the one I created in Cleopatra, or you can not use Cleopatra and just create an open PGP key here for your mailbox. And once you create the key and put it in here, that's all that word needs to decrypt mail. So I go to my inbox. I have a bunch of mail that's not encrypted. If I go down to here is, I think this one it should be. Yep. Galaxy AI is a website that I'm signed up for, and they know me as John3 at developer3.alias.com. And it was encrypted because of the way that it's being done. It shows an uncertain digital signature, but the message is encrypted and no one can read it. So it doesn't matter who it is. And that's all you have to do in Thunderbird to read your encrypted mail. And if I say send mail, and I have open that, like Steve Eisenberg, he and I have exchanged public keys. So I now have a button up here. Hit that button, and now if what this email that I send to Steve is going to be encrypted with PD, and he won't be able to read it unless he uses FlowCrypt app. And we'll just wait for this to send. So that's all there is to send encrypted mail, which we've covered in the last meeting. So that's Thunderbird.
How does he decrypt it?
Steve has uses, I think, a web browser. And so all I do is Gmail, and it has the float extension installed. That's what we're going to talk about next. Is if I go into email, uh, I want to go to.
Drew, sorry I think to answer the question, um, you both have exchanged your public keys. So that's
Yes.
why he can decrypt it. But with PGP, there is a public directory where you can publish your public key so that if anyone ever wants to send mail to you encrypted, they don't need to ask you. They can just go to this directory and do it. In fact, during one of the settings in Thunderbird, there was a place where you could click a button to say publish your PGP key.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at Cleopatra here, there's lookup server, and this you find. Now, the key is the other person has to have chosen to publish it on the server and just magically appear there. You
And
have
there's
to do it.
huge problems with PGP public key directories that have never been solved in the 40 years of public key that never
Yeah.
will be solved. So you really can't count on, I mean, it's a nice convenience in some cases, but there is no one definitive server, and nothing that's ever posted to the server can ever be deleted or retracted. So you're always subject to being sort of spammed out of existence or whatever. You really can't
Oh,
count on public servers for
that's
PGP.
the advantage of using Cleopatra, your public key for creating your. If I here's D65 at Comcast, I can right click on this and say revoke, and it will go up to the server that I publish to and take it away.
It'll go up to some server and it will mark it as revoked, but that's all that happens. So I mean, yeah, that's
Is the concern
So
that by making your email address available to anybody, that essentially now someone has an email address to add to their spam database to start sending you crap? Is that the idea, which makes sense?
Um, well, if you go into a directory and you look at somebody's email and a directory, um, I suppose could somehow figure out a harvest,
Right.
but
I think
you
that
have
sounds like
to
that was the issue.
you have to type you have to pin that person's email. If I go to the server, I don't know what email address is. How can I spam you? You can only get spam from people that know your email address already. Um, and
public key directories can be mined for all their email addresses that they contain. If you're asking that question seriously, because they are by
so
nature public directories. So it's like having the
and
name of
here
the phone.
it and here's Thunderbird. By the way, I sent Steve an email. By the way, the message arrived and decrypted immediately when I opened it in my Gmail in my browser. And here is the open PGP, good digital signature, signed at 10:35 today. And this proves that Steve Eisenberg at Gmail is the one that sent me that mail. So that's a nice thing to have too. Um, Now, how do you read your mail in the browser? You have two choices. I'm going to go into extensions and manage my extensions. And this is the FlowCrypt. If you have Gmail, you want to install this uh, FlowCrypt extension on Google on Gmail for your browser. Simple end-to-end encrypt secure mail and attachments on Google. And um, if you are, oops, Control 4, if you are on another email player than Gmail, we'll use this one here called Mail Secure Your Email PGP. And this will with anybody, right? So That's what we use on Windows, Mac, Linux, in a Chrome browser or a Firefox browser, does there. And you'll configure. If I go in here, right now I think I'm using FlowCrypt. So if I go into the FlowCrypt extension, I can go into settings, and I'm in this account right now. So this is my Flow settings, and it has a mobile app, so you can read your mail on your device. Supports standard and Windows and Apple, and you can go into security and your paraphrase, which your paraphrase gets created when you key. You can back up things. You can go to your inbox. Under additional settings, you'll see under my keys, dking65 at Gmail, created in 2024. There's its fingerprint and it's active. And if I want to add a key that I created in Thunderbird or in Patra, I can load it from a file, or I can paste it, or I can generate a new key. So you can get keys right here in FlowCrypt if you want. And FlowCrypt has its own server. So you can look up people's email if they're using FlowCrypt. If I go into a tester, it shows that I can read mail. If I go into contacts, I can import public keys, I can export, or I can use a key server, and tells you all about how to get to these public key servers that we were talking about before. So that's that. Where did I? Oh, you know what? Pull W. I lost. There we go. Close that out. What else can I show you in here? That's basically the whole extension. And Mailvelope is simple. You just can and import your key, and when you go to read an email, will automatically decrypt it. If I go to my Gmail box, here is a PGP encrypted message, and I can go in here, and now it's all decrypted. That's how simple it is. And then I can do a secure reply if I want to reply securely to Steve. And then he'll get an encrypted. So if you do encryption with somebody, this FlowCrypt makes it really simple. I have an Android and an iOS app. And that's, does anybody have any questions about anything I covered?
Yeah, and let me ask you a question in terms of the use of this, because you seem to have an awful lot of mailboxes. Other than avoiding spam and maybe running a Somali daycare center, what would be the standard uses for encrypted email?
Well, some people have a personal privacy choice, and they may choose to sign up with Proton because the email on the server is Proton can't read it. Email can read all of your mail. They can read all attachments. And so if you just feel personally about your privacy, you may want it. If you don't care, they'll read your email, then don't worry about it.
Who sitting at Comcast would read my email?
Well, Comcast is about to Yahoo. Well, example, they scan for viruses, scan for content. If somebody were to you, or if you were to send an email or a document that had things related to terrorism, like ISIS, they may flag it, steal it from you.
So they're automatically just going through the text, do you think, in an automated way?
If you live in China,
Well,
I don't live
Let's
in
just
China. I
say-
live in Lexington.
okay. So people in China are saying, well, if you live in the United States, I mean, it's like, how much do you trust and who do you trust? That conversation really needs to be factored into multiple parts. Why would anyone ever want to think of the concept of end-to-end encryption?
Yeah.
That's really the only kind of real encryption.
Right, that's why I work from Proton.
Okay, but now we're talking about other sort of substitutes that take the thing partway through the path
Yeah.
in an encrypted format and stuff like that. So who are you protecting against? Are you protecting against the guys at Google specifically? No, but governments and other entities associated with governments are dug in all over the place. If internet is a public set of wires and satellites and things that go through the ground. I mean, it's not like it's locked inside a room all the time when it leaves your computer and goes to somebody at the other side of the country. It passes through a lot of public carriers that can do lots of things with your email, scanning it for whatever and checking to see if you're a terrorist or whatever they feel like.
I'm more concerned with them
Right.
getting into my computer than the fact that I email.
That has almost nothing to do with this conversation, unless you needed to talk about exchange of your credentials with your wife or something like that, and say, oh, what was my password again, or something. You needed a secure way to communicate that related to the security on your computer. Otherwise, they have very little to do with each other, right?
Right.
We're talking about
here's the perfect example. I have a friend that's here in Florida. He uses Proton Mail, and his son uses Proton Mail. And his son is also his executor of his estate and take care of things when those. And so they exchange some sensitive email and information. Because they're both on Proton, without setting up anything yourself, you don't know how to do anything. All of their email that they send back and forth to each other is encrypted end to end. You can read it anywhere.
That seems more practical.
That's
So
only
you guys-
between two mail customers. If
Right.
if I send email to a friend who has Proton, my email starts off unencrypted, falls unencrypted until it gets to Proton, and then they encrypt it in his mailbox.
when you sent your mail message to Steve, that was an example of essentially end-to-end encryption, except you used a browser-based tool to do it. So if we just get over the fact that you sort of have to trust that any key that you entered into that browser-based tool that you used stayed local on your computer, then we can call that a close approximation of end-to-end encryption. Didn't really have anything to do with Proton or anything else.
It is, well, you have, with the browser or Thunderbird, you do have complete end-to-end encryption. When I go into Thunderbird and I send Steve an email, Thunderbird encrypts that message before it even gets to the outgoing SMTP server.